30 more minutes of football to get to a final. You can feel the air just suck. He's taking that by Damaski. A reminder, Inter Miami now has used his additional sub as well into extra time with Damaski coming on at the start. Now, if there were any need for a concussion sub or anything of the sort, they only have one other player. Halsey remains on the bench for FC Cincinnati among outfield players, and they also only have one man. Of the lack of legs for Alvaro Marial. Look how high they've had to push him in so that you can drop Yuya Kubo into the midfield and help out Marco Angulo and Wobodo. Wobodo will be that central piece. He's not really going to vary side to side. It changes the dynamic midfield-wise, especially with the departure of Lucho Acosta. Now Wobodo, he's got to sit in the middle and hold because you don't really have that presence up top to drop down in and help you defensively. It's also a concern. You start to counter. Most of those counters were coming off of the magical right foot of Lucho Acosta. That option's gone. I don't know if this is oversimplifying it, but is this just a case of either Inter Miami wins it in 120 or we go to penalties? No. And the amount of space that Inter Miami has been willing to concede, there are going to be chances there. The real question is going to be, can you get the timing right with Sergio Santos up top? Because he's been a little bit off, twice getting it behind, once that ended up into the back of the net. I would imagine if they are able to break the deadlock that has been quite some time, it'll be direct over the top on a counter. Alba toward goal. Second time in this tournament that FC Cincinnati have had to deal with a late back-breaking blow. Came against New York Red Bulls back in the round of 16. They conceded 90+2. That went 1-1 then through the penalties. Officially tonight, the backbreaker came at 90+7. Damaski through, Joseph Martinez! He's been waiting for his moment. He finally has it. Inter Miami's ahead. Start from the clearance on the other end, and not necessarily when playing out of the back goes wrong, but it's an unwarranted ball. You don't need to take a chance there, and it gets caught in between Yuya Kubo and Arias on the right flank, and the person who gives it away, and Matt Miazga, just can't recover fast enough. That's beautiful vision by Joseph Martinez, and everything that was the product on their own demise tonight comes back to bite the opposition on the other end. Diagonal run in behind. No help from Alvis Powell. And the breakthrough for Joseph Martinez that has been coming. It hasn't been kind in 2023. But all that's behind them, Miami out in front. Third career Open Cup goal for Joseph Martinez, who helped hoist the trophy in Atlanta in 2019. Varias. Wobodo goes down. Here's Cincinnati, and now what? We just talked about one of the biggest issues you're going to have is you don't have a complement onto the front line. You're going to have to come from a deeper lying zone like Yuya Kubo. You're going to have to come deep. So we said Wobodo's going to be the rock in the midfield, right? Well, now all of a sudden you're looking around and you're going, Yuya Kubo, Marco Angulo, where's the help? That's going to be the real compliment here. If you can get help up top. Santos is not going to be able to do it on his own. Miami will become more reserved, but you're going to need more support from those deeper lying positions. More pressure on the midfield. Yuya Kubo's corner. It did go out before it came back in.
And that's maybe what you have to look for as well. Set pieces, if you're Cincinnati, to get that goal back. Doesn't come here.
I would also say on the other side, and you've seen it all, one of the biggest things we saw from Inter Miami throughout their Leagues Cup title run, they didn't really back off. They never really sat back and said, okay, we've got our lead, we've got our comeback, whatever you want to call it. Certainly different argument tonight in terms of the comeback conversation. But they got out in front, and they stayed out in front because their foot stayed down on the gas pedal.
Ruiz. You can feel the heartbeat of this crowd at TQL Stadium at all times. One of the best atmospheres and environments in all of MLS. You could have heard a pin drop twice tonight when Campana tied it, and then just a few moments later in terms of game time when Joseph Martinez put Inter Miami ahead 3-2. And with so much of the attention deservedly so on Messi, granted he has 2 assists tonight. This is the first time that so far, since he's joined Inter Miami, he hasn't been on the score sheet yet. There's still time, but it's the supporting cast. It's Campana twice. It's Martinez once.
Well, it's that world-class talk as well, because it hasn't been his night, right? The game hasn't been kind to Lionel Messi, and yet all you need is a brief flash. And they caught lightning in a bottle twice off of his magical left foot. Cup football's different, Joe. It pushes you mentally to different places so that even when all the tactics are thrown out the window, you find a way to persevere through and get that one special moment to help your team.
Kubo, Barayala goes down, stumbling. Played wide now for Gaddis, deflected.
There's no real decision to be made here because it's great recovery defensively. The turnover, but as quick as they come. Look at all the pink jerseys. Krivostoff back. Robert Taylor applies the pressure. You got Noah Allen on the back post. David Ruiz at the penalty mark. There's nowhere for Gaddis to put that ball. You can play it across and hit it with hope, but the best you're going to get is a deflection that can bounce kindly. Although that's certainly how the first goal played itself out.
Good hard work by Kubo to help win it. Krivostoff's header not too secure. Who scans calmly back to Calendar. We talked about the home unbeaten stretch for FC Cincinnati. All competitions this year, 15-0-3. It's going to go down as another tie tonight. Officially 15-0-4, but unless they come back and celebrate an extra time or penalty victory at the end of the night, that run of unbeaten play at home is going to feel hollow. Santos spending his run. Gaddis looking instead for Barayala as it comes through now for Arias. Yuya Kubo. Well read, intercepted. Robert Taylor. Now it's Alvis Powell driving in. Alvis Powell! Goal kick.
These are the fresh legs and reinforcements that Pat Noonan was hoping for, but on the opposite end of the field. And a little bit slow there, David Ruiz. To be fair, if you had to pick any one of your players, an explosion into the final 20 yards, he's probably not at the top of your list. But again, you'll take it any way you can get it right now because of the lack of options up top for FC Cincinnati.
5 minutes remaining of this first half of extra time.
How's that header, by the way, about 90 seconds ago by Busquets in the box? 7 players around him, including his own, just plucking it out of midair. That's a guy who, if you look at him, yeah, he's got 865 appearances in his career through club and country. Just so calmly taken down. Void of the moment, does not care.
Calmness, class, everything about him. Barcelona, Spain, Champions League, La Liga, World Cup, you name it. He's been there, done it all, done it with that class and calmness, and has become his trademark. Such a catch-22 right now for Cincinnati. They're chasing this game, but their energy levels depleted. Only one sub remaining, and it's Brett Halsey, who's not a natural attacking fit. So when do you have to come out of your shell a bit more? When do you have to show the urgency? Still, of course, a couple minutes in this extra time and another 15 to go. Yuya Kubo. Santi Arias. Wobero through for Haglund. Haglund's ball. Grabbed by Callender.
That's a much better sequence from FC Cincinnati, and a disgruntled player in Barreal at the top of the 18, but it's really the only angle that he has to get this ball back across. There's a ton of jerseys right at the top of the 18, but that's a real good look at it. Everybody's marked up. You don't have the ability, if you're Haglund, to get this back across. You have to bring it direct across the 6. But Drake Callender right there to collect.
Alvis Powell again with the fresh legs driving, looking for Santos. Second time tonight. And Santos has been open for a tap-in, but just a heartbeat behind the ball.
This is a guy that was cooking to the start of the 2023 MLS season, and how does he not get on the end of this? You've only got one thing to do, and it's push that body, the mind, and your frame as hard as possible to reach the top of the 6. That ball's only going to one place.
Here's Kubo. Barreal with space. Barreal took a deflection. It'll be a corner.
There's a ton of space wide open on this left-hand flank. Much better job as they come forward between Alvis Powell and Ray Gaddis. That opens up the ability for Barreal, which that's probably the best you're going to get right now. You can't extend the play, but he is a marksman, albeit that time from distance.
From the corner. Chance here off the bar. Arias could have equalized. The bar said no. Something's still on here as Angulo turns upfield. Was that the moment? Barreal. Last minute of this first half of extra time. Angulo, end line. Centers it, bounces. Haglund, out for a handball. We'll have a look at it, perhaps. Kubo, out for a corner for now. VAR, part of the equation.
That's no penalty, even if it does hit him. The arm's up against the body. It comes off the knee for sure. Does it actually catch the left arm? Too close. Natural position up next to the torso. Everybody in the stadium erupting that they feel like this is a penalty, but the ball's right up against the body. That's a very difficult decision to make if you point to the spot. I don't see it.
And they just confirmed corner. Joey Dickerson heard out the VAR official, pointed to the corner, says play on. Yuya Kubo drops in another good ball. Powell waiting for it. Angulo there. Barreal. Kubo. Too much. Didn't show any number on the board for extra time in this stoppage time period, so that might be it here when Callender puts it back into play. Joey Dickerson just trying to ask Callender to play the ball in because he knows he's blowing the whistle, and there it is. So through the first half of extra time, Inter Miami now ahead by a goal, courtesy of Joseph Martinez.
Oh, the belief's been restored, though, if you're an FC Cincinnati fan. And interestingly enough, by the way, just a little direction, pointing down to the corner for Brett Halsey to come over and have a conversation with the coaching staff, but they're fighting back. Inter Miami starting to go into a little bit of a shell. Desperation football at times. This is what happens when you get into cup-style football. The format, you feel like the job's done. You get back on your heels, and you get away from the success that got you back into this game. They struggled. They were down 2-0. But the fight back, they get one from Campana from a dead ball situation and some kind of ridiculous ball. Right to the back post. That's his Leo Campana. Just tripped right up underneath.
It didn't take long into extra time. Only 3 minutes before Joseph Martinez gave Inter Miami the lead.
Matt Miazga was irate at the fact that nobody gets on the end of that ball, but that's on him. He played it to the wrong spot, and then he doesn't recover quick enough. Joseph Martinez is always going to win the argument when you're talking a foot race in behind. I don't care who's on the back line. He's going to beat you, but he catches the angle just right. Beautiful ball slipped through, and Inter Miami out in front.
And back to a moment ago when the crowd had that penalty shout. You can't fault them. They're desperate right now for anything. They're trying to find any way back into this game after it was just taken from them at the last moment by Messi and Martinez and Campana and crew.
Well, think about it this way. For a team that emotionally struggled for the better portion of 20 minutes, you got a moment that got everybody else around you to believe that there's still an opportunity here, because that was lacking for quite some time. They got out 2-0, and they just kind of sat there thinking, you know what, our job is done. But that wasn't the case. And so in that absence, moments like that can actually help the team band around themselves. And Pat Noonan's going to be sitting there going, look, there is a chink in the armor. They are fallible. We can beat this team. Forget about the fact that you were up 2-0 and you let that slip. You got 15 minutes to go back and chase this game and get back into the conversation of being a U.S. Open Cup finalist.
And it's Messi right now, gathering everybody huddled, giving them the pep talk as they take the field once again. Yedlin's won it. Ulloa's won it. Martinez has won it. The rest of this group wants to win it. We're 15 minutes away from reaching the final. September 27th against either Real Salt Lake or the Houston Dynamo. That match is about to kick off right now in Houston. A Houston victory would mean Inter Miami, should they hold on, host the final. A Real Salt Lake victory means Inter Miami travels. We've played 105. We'll play 15 more. It's Inter Miami 3, FC Cincinnati 2. Brett Halsey came on for Barreal. Neither team has a sub remaining.
Just watch how that changes things on the front line for FC Cincinnati, because Ray Gaddis now comes deeper into the center back spot next to Miazga and Hagelin. You switch Almas Pau to the other side, but what that does going forward is now you've got Arias as that main option. What they're trying to do is use the width of the field to their advantage with all the wingbacks in pace. Stretch the field on the outside. If you can slip Angulo or Kubo in, great, but you're going to have numbers on the width to try to play off of each other in combination play and transition.
Here is Kubo. Kubo took a deflection off of Angulo. I think Alba thought it came off of a teammate. Otherwise, he would have been better off leaving it out for a goal kick. Now it's given away. Wobano. Obi Wobano looking for Sergio Santos. Varias. Martinez. And Messi. Always the threat now of being done in for a fourth. Messi had some venom in that attack as he went forward. Both of these teams have left everything out there. Jordi Alba stands over it. They don't look like they're in any rush to get this goalward. Busquets. Now it's wide for Taylor. Just won the Leagues Cup on Saturday. That tournament in its first year, its new iteration. This tournament in its 108th iteration. Inter Miami wants this one as well. Messi to the corner. During the week, Tata Martino was asked about Busquets, Messi, giving them some time to recuperate with what has been a bunched-up, hectic schedule. I don't know if he wanted them to go 120 tonight, but they are, and Messi still looked fresh down in the corner.
It was very clear. He said that at some point in time, he's going to get a break, but it's not going to be on Wednesday. He will start. If he wants to play, he's going to chase it. And Lionel Messi, very clear that he wants this team to have the opportunity to win another piece of hardware outside of what just took place on the weekend for Leagues Cup.
Halsey. Advantage was played by Dickerson. Halsey. Muskie got a fistful of jersey, got away with it. Haglund. Wobono, well done. Gaddis floats it. Little shove from Santos. Still loose. Calendar has it.
It's just enough pressure on the back shoulder from Noah Allen. Watch him track. He's going to lose the height argument, but sometimes all you got to do is just get a little bit of a nudge on the striker, throws him off his path, doesn't allow him to go up and use the momentum to his advantage. Well done by the young man.
Matt Miazga with the captain's armband now. Gaddis, I mentioned when he came on, he's been so close twice, losing 2 finals in the Open Cup, both with Philly. One of those times came in penalties. He converted his and lost it after 9 rounds of penalties. So close again tonight to making a final, only for the time being to have had it wrestled away.
And they've actually changed just a little bit again, a little tweak on the inside. I talked about using the width of the field. They've primarily gone into a 4, which pushes Gaddis into a more natural marking back position. Is inverting just a tiny touch with Brett Halsey. Basically, you pivot on the left, you get Gaddis and Halsey. Same thing on the right side when you rotate through Alves Powell and Arias, and you just kind of seesaw back and forth.
Alves Powell picked up a yellow card. Back to Gaddis for a moment. He came out of retirement to try and chase a title or two, whether Open Cup or in MLS play. Relationship with Pat Noonan and Chris Albright. For a long career he had in Philadelphia, Gaddis. 9 years there. Getting close now. 9 minutes to go. Every step of the way, just new tests for Inter Miami. They've come come back in games now. Marias won't get there. All the way back for Kent. That's a difficult one to deal with. They've come back in multiple games now. But tonight on the road against Cincy, a lengthy unbeaten run at home. Having to go to extra time for the first time. Remember, Leagues Cup, straight to penalties. And now physically and mentally having to deal with an extra 30 minutes. They continue to pass every test in terms of the results. If they can get through 8 more minutes. Gaddis, Halsey. Wobedo, chested down by Santos. And to wiggle his way through. Krivtsov just boots at the safety. Miazga. Wobedo. Gaddis for Halsey. Halsey centering. Falls for Yuya Kubo. Kubo! Magic in Cincinnati!
What did we say? We said the entire time that you needed support up top, and you had to find a way in the tactical change to get someone to play off Sergio Santos, and most assuredly, it had to be Yuya Kubo. Starts with the move by the substitute, Brett Halsey. As he gets down in, he recognizes he's got Angulo at the 8, but off the deflection. Yuya Kubo on the touch. It's the beautiful it's any better.
And not at the end of the script yet. 6 minutes to go still. Ruiz trying to find a way in. Halsey helped create the tying goal. New life now for Cincy and these fans. Both these teams have had to deal with penalties in this tournament already. Inter Miami, it came against Miami FC in their first game of the tournament. Cincy, it came in the round of 16. Santos flicks it. Went to 11 rounds of penalties on Saturday, Inter Miami, to get past Nashville in the Leagues Cup and lift that trophy. Drake Callender scored the winning penalty. Here's David Ruiz. With some space, Ruiz taken down, free kick, messy territory, and a yellow.
This was really the spark for everything in the second half for Inter Miami, and the youngster David Ruiz coming on now. His role has changed. as they added Joseph Martinez. And really, the conversation up top was null and void until the breakthrough. Ruiz has been really deep, but smart move. Just using his positioning to his advantage, coming up over the top. Arias in behind. Every single player feeling the effects right now. But what is the aftershock of that foul? Because this is Messi territory-ish. It's a little bit further out. You're looking right around 30 yards. Central location is going to be difficult for Alec Cannon goal. How many do you put in the wall? And do you use that to your advantage if you're Inter Miami? Very difficult to say. We're going to take the ball away from Lionel Messi, but everybody's expecting you to hit it. Do you maybe go another route?
At first, I thought it'd be closer as Ruiz was tumbling. Joey Dickerson brought it back to the initial contact. But again, look who we're talking about. Done it twice already from direct free kicks for Inter Miami in 7 games. Leo Messi again, but this time right to Can. Two to play. Messi. Looking for David Ruiz. Angulo now. Springs Santos. Kritzhoff's on a yellow. Here goes Sergio Santos. Kubo arriving late. Busquets. Already kicked off now between Houston and Real Salt Lake in the other semifinal. Messi, take it out, play on. Busquets, he's going for the foul.
You got to wonder on the chance that just was for FC Cincinnati, why he lets this thing fly. So he does such a good job here. Sergio Santos getting in behind, you beat him. Continue to drag this run because two things are going to happen. You go one-on-one with Calendar. Yes, the angle might start to lack a little bit, but you force two decisions. Calendar positionally to challenge himself, and on the back post run, Noah Allen has to make a decision. Instead, you've let Inter Miami off.
Halsey, last minute of extra time. Are we headed to penalties, or is there something here? Halsey goes down, and he's called for the foul. Well, 120 minutes have been played. We'll decide this on penalties.
Of course it is, right? I mean, of course, we're going to 12 yards out to decide this title fight that has been tonight. Incredible for both of these teams. You've seen a little bit of everything. FC Cincinnati and how great they were all night long, conceding their lead. Miami battling back at the tail end to push this into the final 30 minutes, and then the start that was very poor for Cincinnati coming off the back line. Joseph Martinez, we said coming in, he was due. He hasn't scored in the open run of play since the addition of Lionel Messi up top. Finally repays the favor, and Inter Miami get out. But be careful what you wish for here, because Inter Miami went into a shell. They got deeper and deeper. And the young man at Brett Halsey, he's been a bright spotlight coming in. The spark that started this comeback, as he gets in on the diagonal, you're just going to one place with this ball. It's ingrained in you as a kid over and over again. Cut it back to the penalty mark. Look for some support. You get the deflection, and you get Yuya Kubo cooking for the third of the night.
No strangers to penalties recently, Inter Miami. Needed them against FC Dallas after a 4-4 finish in Leagues Cup. Needed them against Nashville after a 1-1 finish in Leagues Cup to lift the trophy. Needed again tonight after a 3-3 finish against Cincy in the Open Cup.
And this is a very interesting situation right here. You've got an Inter Miami team that's probably going to feel a little bit defeated because they let this slip away just like FC Cincinnati did. They were spread out. Tata Martino was on the sideline having a conversation. The players looking for any sort of support that they can get going forward. That wasn't the case for Cincinnati. They've all been together the entire time. And some really interesting studies behind the scenes about what this 5-minute window looks like from the whistle until you all walk to the center circle and the first one points to the spot. How do you best utilize that? Most managers will tell you this is a mind game right now. Who wants to be involved? Who feels comfortable taking one of the loneliest walks in sports? It's one of the most difficult things to do. Do you feel like you have the legs? Do you feel mentally capable? And what sort of confidence is behind you? Two different looks for two different teams, both searching the same outcome.
If you're Inter Miami, you're confident maybe because you just won 2 shootouts in the last couple of weeks. If you're Cincinnati, you feel like you've got nothing to lose right now after battling back in extra time.
They're 2-1 all-time in U.S. Open Cup penalties. They beat Chicago Fire in 2017 on the amazing run that was when they were still in USL Championship, the second division of the United States, that saw them go all the way to a semifinal. 2018 was a Minnesota loss. And then earlier this year, on the road at Red Bull, they were able to take them down and continue on this majestic cup run. It has been a seesaw affair, back and forth all night. That is now out of the hands of the managers. You've done everything you can. Hope, wink, a prayer. You do whatever you want and hope that in about 5 minutes time, you come out on top.
The remnants of dark gray and black in the head of hair of Tata Martino. Getting close to white with the way these last couple of weeks have gone. After the coin tosses, they'll be kicking away from the supporters section. And while the Bailey is special, let's be real, this whole stadium is a supporters section for FC Cincinnati. Outstanding all night. And just waiting for a reason to now celebrate at the end.
How's that conversation? You boys keep yourself in check, stay on your line, and we're going out for pizza afterwards. I'm sure that's exactly what's going on right now. Who brought the orange slices?
Off the Skyline Chili after this, if you're in this crowd for Cincinnati, a local delicacy. And it will be Cincinnati shooting first. Yuya Kubo, who sent this game to penalties, gets a hero's ovation as he makes a long walk. '29-year-old fan favorite. Keeps giving them moments. Can he produce another? Kubo against Callender to start things off. Kubo gets it in barely, but he does, as Callender guesses right.
Not the same sort of pop that we saw from Drake Callender in game. He sniffs this the right direction, but that explosion just isn't there. Just about placement for you, Kubo.
No surprise, it's Messi stepping up for the first, as he did each time in the Leagues Cup. made his last 5 penalties.